Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soul Standing. My name is Beth, and today I'm going to give you a quick review on Written Off by E.J. Copperman. This is the first in a new series that started. I should have checked the publication date before. Came out last year, so I don't know if book two is out yet, but I got this because I wanted to participate in March Mystery Madness, and one of the challenges they had was to read the first in a series. So I actually had two that were first in series. The first one that I read was the first in the Cat Who books. The Cat Who Could Read Backwards is the first book. I had read it a long time ago, back when I was like 12 or 13, so 20 years ago, and really enjoyed it. And then I read it again and still really enjoyed it. And then I picked up Written Off. Should have just stuck with the Cat Who books. I gave this a 3 stars because I really enjoyed the premise, but there were just some inconsistencies that I could not deal with. Um, so first, let me tell you the premise, and then I'll do that thing I do where I tell you things I didn't like, and then I tell you the things I did actually like. So the premise is that Rachel Goldman is a mystery author, and her mystery series that she writes and is published, there are 4 or 5 books out, and the main character's name is Duffy Madison, who is a consultant to the county prosecutor's office and helps find missing persons. And then in real life, she meets a man named Duffy Madison, who is a consultant to an area county prosecutor's office, who wants her help and thinks that she maybe, birthed him out of her mind 4 years ago because he can't remember anything past 4 years ago. And then she gets kidnapped. There are authors that have been murdered that are mystery authors. And so, yeah, it kind of goes from there. It The tag says, full of uncanny intrigue and witty humor, E.J. Copperman's imaginative series debut, Written Off, is sure to be a favorite amongst Copperman's many fans, new and old. Well, I can't remember reading anything else by E.J. Copperman, but I can tell you that E.J. Copperman needs to have someone reading these books and making sure that the people who were hired to read them for consistencies actually check all the consistencies, because there are at least 4 or 5 different places in this book where a statement was made and then something else gets done. Like, she goes on a date. The guy says he's going to pick her up at her house. And then she talks about when they met at the restaurant, he had a flower for her. And then he gets called to work and she says, do I need to call a friend to pick me up? And he's like, no, I can take you back. Or, no, you should come in with me, because it's a policeman that she went on a date with. He's like, no, you should come with me. Duffy wants you to come. She's like, all right. So they go. And then later he drops her off at her car, which she left in a public parking area when he picked her up from the public parking area to take her on their date. And then she drives home. So just in that like page and a half worth of stuff, she was supposed to get picked up at home, and then she met him at the restaurant, but she didn't meet him at the restaurant because he was supposed to drive her back home. But instead, he drives her to her car that she left in a parking lot. It's a page and a half, and that's, what is that, 3 or 4 inconsistencies within a page and a half. Then towards the end, they know the person who's doing the murdering and kidnapping. It's like a big twist, and I won't tell you who it was. I will tell you that she uses the wrong name for the agent, or for the person involved. Oops. Shh. Um, the person involved has a title that has been used, and then has this other name that's like their actual name, and those get mixed up. So they use the title and then the wrong name with the title. And it's just very confusing because that's not how it should be. And even if that's how she wanted it to read, somebody should have pointed out that that's not really right. That doesn't make sense. And then there are 4 or 5 other places in the book where Rachel Goldman says that she's doing this, or they make a plan to do this, and then when they go do this, it's completely different. But there's no mention of what else is going on. Now, it is written sort of like a memoir of someone who, an author who is working on something. It's kind of like almost journal entry memoirish type. And the writing style just didn't really stick with me. And there are a couple of places where it switches from the story to Rachel Goldman being like, "Did I not mention that I had changed into my pajamas already? I had already changed into my pajamas." And I did not enjoy that. I gave it a 3 stars because I did enjoy the premise, but I really don't think that I am going to be continuing on with this series, even though the idea of a mystery author getting pulled into the mystery, her main character coming to life and needing her help, those are really great premises. The writing style threw me off so badly that I'm really not going to be um, reading any more of these, and probably not picking up any other E.J. Copperman books unless I get a really glowing recommendation from one of you guys for something else, because just just did not work for me at all. However, I did like several of the mentions about writing. The writing aspect really made sense, and then there was a quote. Um, So Duffy says, "There are no indications there were notes, paper files, index cards," he said. "No scratches from paper clips, no pens or pencils or notepads." "Welcome to the computer age," I said. "There is no desktop computer." "Well, welcome to the laptop computer age. I haven't written anything out on paper for years. My desk doesn't even have enough open space for me to consider writing on it. No flat surface that isn't taken up with something. The only reason I think this isn't Sunny's primary workspace is there's no visible modem or Wi-Fi server or printer. She only uses this when she needs to be away from her usual office because she's reached maximum density there." "Writer's block?" Duffy suggested. I waved a hand dismissively. "There's no such thing. Writers made that up so they could procrastinate better. We love to make up excuses not to write, and we're great at making things up. Writers are the best procrastinators on the planet." Okay, I both love and hate that page. That was about a half a page. I both love and hate it because I handwrite, and there are several times where she's like, "Nobody handwrites anymore. Nobody does that. Why would anybody handwrite anything?" And I handwrite everything. All of my first drafts are handwritten and then typed up as I go. But I'll handwrite and then I'll type it up the next day or the next week or whatever. So that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But that whole thing about writer's block, I'm like, well, yeah, no, we just procrastinate. We can't think of anything. So instead of sitting down and making ourselves do something, we're like, nope, not today. Writer's block, and move on. And yeah, I know writer's block actually does exist, but you can push through it if you really want to. We just don't really want to. That, yeah. And there's also, she finishes up like the first draft of one of her books at the beginning of this book, and the entire time she's talking about needing to do revisions. Then she'll do like a page of revisions, where she'll sit down to do revisions, and she's like, maybe I should check with Duffy, and then she goes off and does something else. And I think it's hilarious because that is exactly what every writer I know does. None of us sits down and straight up does revisions unless it's like deadline, have to do it today or we're dead kind of thing. So yeah, those parts had me laughing. I loved them. And I really liked the pseudo romance that was going on because she was just straight up sarcastic about it. Like the guy she went on a date with, he works with Duffy. He's a police officer, investigator on this case. And so, like, she goes out to dinner with him, and she's like, he's really nice. He's cute, but he knows he's cute, but maybe I'll let him kiss me. And then later, he's doing something in the investigation. And she's like, if this guy wants to kiss me, he better start listening to my crackpot theories more, or else he's never going to get to kiss me. And then later, he does something, and she's like, yeah, he's not going to kiss me. I'm so not kissing that guy tonight. Uh-uh. And it is hilarious. I really, really enjoyed those parts. It's just too bad that the overall writing style had me so put off, and the timeline confusion and inconsistencies at places had me so turned off that I'm not going to continue with this series, as I said before. But if you've read anything else by E.J. Copperman, or if you think this sounds interesting, you should definitely check it out. It could just be that I'm super picky, because I am. It's 329 pages and it took me 5 days, which should tell you something. Normally that would take me a day, day and a half maybe, depending on how crazy the kid's acting. So yeah, 3 days at the most, not 5. Anyway, this is a longer review than I had intended it to be, but there you have it. That is written off by E.J. Copperman. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you guys again very soon. Until next time, read something good and write something even better. Bye.